practiced and well cared of, you will have a serious problem in becoming a Muslim preacher. And I give like an example of someone who gets so much nervous and lose their temper when they encounter some sort of one of these questions that maybe he feels derogatory, feels that they are insulting Islam or so. And we gave example to this by the question that one of the sisters sent to me about one who keeps like criticizing Islam on an unfounded basis. And I said that this is something very common that will happen to you as a Muslim preacher out of these people's ignorance about Islam and its real message. So you need to show some kind of self-restraint or coolness when you are encountering such questions. The other way is that you have to be open-minded, you have to be fully prepared for any sort of kind of a surprise or unexpected question. So you need to show that you have what we call as self-composure. Something that you show to others that you are not hit severely about that question. You deal with the question as just like any normal question. And one of the other things as well that shows your good personality is that you have a kind of a sense of humor, that you feel you let other people feel that you are not that strict person, that one with a gloomy face, that in order to be serious about Islam, which will make like a sort of a barrier between you and the person you are talking to. They need to feel that this religion is lived and presented and embodied by you and in you. You are like, if I talk about Islam, when you look at me, and for those people who are not Muslims, when they see me, they see what Islam looks like. If I'm like very gloomy, they say, oh, this religion is not, it's not good. It's a gloomy face. It's not something good for us. If I'm not, reasonable enough with them, they'll say, no, this religion is not for us. So always remember that you are a representation of what you say. And as the English proverb says, you need to practice what you preach. If the people see that you have no sincerity and you have no connection with what you say in your own personal attitude, they're not going to buy what you say. So we elaborated on this subject in some way, so we make it clear to our brothers and sisters that the personal attitude is very important in your mission as a Muslim preacher. The subject of today will be talking about the channels through which you are going to communicate, deliver, convey your message to others. Right. We have already finished the first two elements. The first one, which is the da'wah, the obligation. You have undertaken the course of da'wah and you become a Muslim preacher. You have obtained the required knowledge for the subject and you worked on yourself to present your ideas in an accepted manner. Now we're talking about the way we will communicate this information to others. So if I'm asking you and say, what methods you can think of for delivering da'wah to others? What you can imagine about the ways, how we can deliver this message to others? We are in the modern time now, and we're looking around and see if we want to inform someone else about something, how would we inform him or her about this? Through the media, right? This is very effective. This is for mass communication, as for those people who study media. Mass communication. Sorry?
What kind of media?
Well, all types of media will be involved here. We're talking about media, we're talking about TV programs, we're talking about papers, we're talking about emailing, we're talking about sending stuff or literature to others. We're talking about different ways. We're talking about holding conferences and symposiums. We're talking about any kind of channel or means through which we can deliver the message to others. Now we live in the satellite world, and we see maybe every day more and more channels coming up on the satellite. So maybe you'll have your neighbor who fancies being seen on television. Maybe tomorrow you'll find him purchasing one of these channels or hiring them and appearing on the television and inviting you to buy one of his goods from the shop. It has become very easy now for people to have full access to media by private channels, satellite channels. So all kinds of channels are involved here in the practice of Islamic da'wah, and we as Muslims living in this world, we have to make use, or the optimum use, of what we have got. If we have televisions, we need to use televisions. If we have postal services, we have to use the post. If we have radio channels, we have to use them. If we have places that we can hold conferences in, we need to do so. This is the wise way as Muslim preachers of spreading the word of Islam. We should not avert from using these methods or means of communication because on the assumption that they are modern and they belong to the non-Muslims or they come from a Western origin. No, we as Muslims have full freedom to use these methods nowadays. So the first and the most effective way for spreading Islam may be through what we can see nowadays by initiating more channels that propagate the message of Islam. We convene conferences and symposiums to invite people from non-Muslim background to come and know about Islam, to distribute some flyers amongst them, to distribute some literature, basic literature about Islam, like an entry for them, like a window through it they can see Islam, and then for further information you can supply them with more literature.
But individually, what can we do practically? I think that initiating some channels will be very difficult.
Well, I've got, maybe I've thought of 14 ways you can think of. And this is, well, all of them will be practical in terms of the capacity. But first of all, we're talking about mass communication, and this would be only realized through the media, the general media. So the first one is through the media, through the televisions, through the radios, through other public communication systems. The second way is maybe pertains to the area that the brother has just mentioned, which is the individual task. I remember when I was in England, I had an experience of seeing a group of Christians who Brother Orwa might have, or Luqman might have heard about them, who call themselves as Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, these people, they are a group of Christian people who followed the tradition that was initiated by someone called Charles Russell in about the second half of the 19th century. And they have certain notions about Jesus, about the kingdom of God, about the end of the world, and so forth. They are usually engaged in what we call as door-to-door proselytizing. And proselytizing is a word that's, proselytize is like conversion. But conversion by a sort of maybe a forceful way.